Hello, everybody, and welcome to International Steampunk Day. Welcome as well to Sunday Open Studio Online. This past week, the Central BC Railway and Forestry Museum has been celebrating steampunk culture, and we thought we'd jump on board the train with them today and make some steampunk puppets. What is steampunk? Steampunk is an alternate time or world, past, present, or future, where technology developed a bit differently than it did in our world and as we know it today. Instead of electricity, everything is powered by natural gas and by steam. People dress a bit differently. They wear top hats, funky aviator goggles, maybe aviator caps. There's a lot of lace, long skirts, vests. When I think of steampunk, I think of wood and leather, cogs and gears, lace, brass, lots of brass. And maybe, have you ever seen the movie Hugo or read the books The Golden Compass or the Jules Verne book Journey to the Center of the Earth? All of those are based around steampunk culture. So today's video will be a little bit different from our previous videos. Instead of walking through the project from start to finish on how to make one of these steampunk puppets, I'm going to show a few video clips with tips and tricks, how to make a top hat, how to make a puppet with structure like this one, how to make a simple sock puppet, and how to make some masking tape leather so you can create your own steampunk accessories. What you'll make will depend on what you have in your house. So after you've watched the videos, go scavenging for supplies. I'll give you some suggested supplies. Create your puppets, and then maybe you can use them to act out a story that you've read, or maybe you'll create your own story that has steampunk characters in it. Have a great week, everybody. I will see you next week. Have fun with your steampunk puppets. Suggested supplies. For this activity, look around the house and see what you can find. For the puppets themselves, you'll need to have socks and glue or glue guns or glue sticks, some scissors, some tape. For the puppets with internal structure, you'll need to have a 500 ml or 250 milliliter yogurt or sour cream container. To add extras to your puppet, you can also find things such as string, rubber bands, buttons, bottle caps, needle and thread, tin foil, and my favorite, odds and ends. I keep a little tin available to put in things like broken necklaces, old watch straps, keys that I don't need anymore, and little bits of metal and gadgets that I find lying around the house. Rather than throw them out, I throw them in this tin, and they're there when I need them to make things. To make a simple sock puppet. All you need to make a simple sock puppet is a sock, any size, any shape, any color. I find the easiest sock to use for making my sock puppet is one that is similar in size to my hand. That way it's not as big and floppy. To make your sock puppet, hold your hand so that the fingers are tightly squeezed together and separate from the thumb. Slip your hand inside the sock with the heel of the sock on the back of your hand. Open your fingers away from your thumb and push the toe of the sock in between them towards the palm of the hand. Now, as your fingers and thumb open and close, you have a mouth of a puppet that can open and close as well. All you need to do now is add some eyes, a nose, some extra accessories like hat, and you'll soon have a puppet with personality. To make a puppet with an internal frame. You might like to make a puppet that has an internal frame or structure so that it's easier to add your accessories. For this, you'll need a larger sock, a 500 gram or 250 gram yogurt or sour cream container, some masking tape, some glue, and some scissors. Remove the lid from the yogurt container and find the halfway point on the lid. Snip the rim of the lid at the halfway point, but don't cut through the top of the lid itself. So you want to do that on either side. And then fold your lid in half with the top sides of the lid coming together in the middle. And crease. This will make the mouth of our puppet. On the inside of one half of the lid along the rim, you want to apply a bead of glue. It could be a nice tacky glue, or you could use a glue gun. And then place that half of the lid back on top of the container. At this point, I like to use some masking tape to help secure the lid to the container while it dries. This allows me to continue building the puppet without waiting for the glue to dry. If you have a hot glue gun, you could use a hot glue gun instead to secure the lid to the container. And you may not need to have this added step of taping it down. As you can see, I like to use a lot of tape, especially in the corners where the mouth will open and close. Next, we need to put our container inside the sock. We'll want to put it in so that the bottom of the tape container touches the toe, and so that the closed side of the container is facing the heel of the sock. For this, I sometimes like to close the lid all the way and scrunch up my sock as if I'm going to put it on my foot. And work it on. Now this takes a little bit of work sometimes, but with perseverance, you'll eventually be able to get that container all the way down to the toe of the sock. We are asking that sock to do quite a bit of stretching here. And then if you reach your hand inside the sock, you can open up that unglued half lid and fold it in half again so that you have a mouth, and take the heel of the sock and push it in towards the back of that mouth. And there you have a puppet with internal structure that may allow you to add your eyes, nose, top hat, and other accessories more easily than on a simple sock puppet. If you would like to, you can glue the toe of the sock to the top side of the lid there so that it stays in place as you use it. To make fabric or leather for working with. If you have no fabric at home to use and you have no leather, but you have some masking tape and some brown acrylic paint, you can make your own artificial leather. Take your masking tape and tear it into strips of equal length. Lay your first piece down, sticky side up, on the table in front of you. Second strip of about the same length. Lay that alongside the first strip and slightly overlapping it down the length. Press lightly to stick the two pieces together. Both of them are now on the table sticky side up. Continue to stick pieces of masking tape together, slightly overlapping, until you have a sheet of masking tape in the size that you want. Once you have your first layer created, you can do a second layer over top, the side with the sticky side down. And again, line your pieces, piece by piece, overlapping as you go. It helps at this point, when you lay a piece of sticky tape down, to have it slightly curved in the middle and set the middle down first and let the sides drop down and along. That avoids having unusual wrinkles. Don't worry if the pieces are not evenly laid over top in exactly the same orientation. They might be slightly askew. The important thing is to lay them down with as few wrinkles as possible. Continue to build up your pieces of tape until you have completely covered the first layer. If you want your material or your leather to have a different pattern than this one, which will have stripes, you can always cut or tear your masking tape into smaller irregular pieces and use those instead. It might take a little bit longer, but you'll have something that has more of an organic look to it. When you have completed the second layer, and you have this sheet of masking tape that is not sticky on either side, you can go around and trim off the sticky edges. And sticky ends. You can then paint it brown like leather and cut it into shapes to make goggles and things like that for your steampunk puppet. You might even want to sew it to make a little cape or to make an aviator's hat. How to make a top hat out of a toilet paper roll. For this, you'll need scissors, a toilet paper roll, masking tape, and a pencil or marker. Think about how tall you would like your top hat to be, and carefully draw a line, in this case about 1 inch or 2 centimeters away from one end of the toilet paper roll, all the way around, keeping it as even as you can. This will be the brim of my hat. And on the other side, I draw a line not quite as far down. Using our scissors, we'll cut flaps, narrow flaps, from the ends of the toilet paper roll into the line. Don't make them too wide. This will give us a smoother look to our top hat. On the end with the brim, you want to fold those flaps out and away from the middle of the toilet paper tube. And on the top of the hat, you want to bend those flaps in towards the middle, and they will overlap each other. This is what we want. At this point, if you would like to, you could take a flat piece of cardboard and tape or glue a circle on the top here, and tape a larger circle or glue a larger circle on the bottom here. I like to use masking tape and just start taping things down to hold all my flaps in place on the top and to make my brim on the bottom. First, I put tape on the top of the brim, and then I'll turn my hat over and put tape on the bottom of the brim as well. Now I can trim the tape and the flaps to make more of a circular brim. I can also choose to make my brim a little bit narrower if I like, or leave it as wide as the flaps can reach. Continue adding tape to your hat, top, bottom, and sides, until you have as many layers on there to make it look like a top hat. At this point, you could use some acrylic paint to paint your top hat black, brown, or any other color you choose.